Howdy, people. We are live. No one can hear you, Steve. Can y'all hear me okay? T.O. is having issues. If you can hear me, Steve, we cannot hear you at all. No idea what the hell you said. Nothing. I'm 5'9" plus, according to Frank. And they can hear me in Great Britain, and they can hear me in Texas. So I'm 5'9" worldwide. All right, well, so we're going to do something cool tonight. Apparently, we're going to debug Steve's audio chain. That'll be entertaining. I think he can hear me. Yeah, he can hear me. Okay. We're beta testing something. You know, and that's code. When a programmer tells you it's a beta test, that means, hey, it's our first version, and we don't really know what the hell we're doing, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. And since I'm here by myself, I'm going to say I apologize for the disorganized chaos behind me. I'm in a transitional state with the way things are arranged here. What you can't see is even worse. So, you know. I think the plan tonight is for Steve to work on his... How
about now?
Oh, my God. There he is. His NinoTNC, since we have all the parts.
We're like halfway there. And why did that switch upside down again? Crap. It's not upside down. Okay. So here's the deal. The microphone on the headset sucks and my audio sounds like crap, and I was trying to fix it. So I used this set of microphones. This is a wireless microphone that connects over some magical protocol to the receiver, which plugs in via USB-C. So I had that running, and the audio was really, really low. I didn't like it, so I have this microphone, which looks a lot like the other one, but it's got a dead cat on it. It's the newer version. This one connects over Bluetooth. There is something weird about computers and having a Bluetooth microphone source and a Bluetooth audio output at the same time that don't work, especially when the Bluetooth audio output has its own microphone that you're not trying to use.
Only for Steve.
Turn all that crap off. Well, don't tell me it's a PC versus Mac thing, because this is a Mac.
No, I'm not. I'm on Windows, and so I bought new earbuds. I bought Bose Ultra Quiet, Ultra Comfort, whatever they are, the high-end Bose earbuds, which are, by the way, make AirPods seem like hot Chinese garbage. And I'm an Apple fanboy. And so I was going to use those on the show a couple weeks ago, and I could hear you guys fine, but the problem was, since I have no way to connect them to my mixer yet, I couldn't hear me in the earbuds. And with the noise canceling on, it was really weird because to me, I sounded like... It gets strange. And man, doing the show with a phone and earbuds and a microphone is 7 kinds of weird.
I think that only works on StreamYard on Apple. It does not work on Android at all.
Yeah.
I think you got it to work on Chuck's phone.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. And I hear a little bit of an echo.
Okay.
Echo?
I don't hear it.
Way in the background. I don't know, unless my microphone is picking up my in-ears, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, Mac is the solution. This is a Mac!
And Don, of course, being the troll that Don is, it's a fun toy. Anything you can do on a Windows box, I can do on a Mac, and anything you can do on a Mac, I can do on a Windows box. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, literally.
Don, your OM is showing because Mac is based on
BSD Unix.
And has a terminal, like a better integrated terminal than Windows will ever have, because Mac has started at the terminal and built up, and Windows has started at a pile of crap and built down to the user.
That's a very good analogy. I like that. You do have issues. You do have issues.
Well, Windows 8 came out and my desktop turned into an advertising billboard that I can't turn off. So
I know, right? And something has changed in my Chrome. I guess this is 80 meters at this point for hams. So I'm getting pop-up, like little notifications in the bottom right corner of my screen when I have Chrome up. That's a new thing, and I don't know what the hell happened. I didn't ever click the I want to see ads button.
Right.
I don't know if it's ads or it's news or something. I don't know, but I got to figure it out because it makes me nuts.
It's a pain. I just want my computer to do computer stuff. and then I will build ridiculous amounts of crazy crap on top of it, like this. So
Right.
this was doing the multiple camera thing, by the way, only works in Brave, and Brave is using WebKit, Chromium, whatever you want to call it, the back end of Chrome. This does not work in Chrome at all.
Still, I haven't tried it again
I haven't tried
since.
it in a while, but this is where we were a month or two
Right.
ago.
Right.
And this doesn't work in Firefox. Like StreamYard only works in Chrome, and then multiple camera setups only work in. Hey, Aaron, thank you. Welcome. Aaron is a new member. Awesome. So multiple camera things only
I
work
love
in
new people.
Brave, which is really strange. When are we doing our members only meeting anyway?
Wednesday. Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. I need
This
to post.
this Wednesday?
Yeah, because it should
2
have been
days from
last
now, Wednesday?
Wednesday, but Ape was still drunk, or hungover.
Yeah, and he's fun to watch in the private Zoom call when he's drunk.
Oh my God.
Get turned up on a couple of Miller Lights,
And
like 12.
in our private Discord at night, after you can tell he's home from work and he's popping the Millers, he comes up with all sorts of deep topics that no one wants to talk about at 9:30 at night.
And Jim and Chuck get to share their firefighting stories.
We do. Well, we don't do that a lot because,
Well, you have the one really, really, really good one that we've all heard and want to hear again. But
I love to tell that story because it just boggles the imagination.
it's
That
about
he,
as nasty as you can get.
no, on a paramedic scale of nasty, I mean, when you hear the story, you think nasty, but 27 years of doing the job, no, that is not even in the neighborhood of
Okay,
nasty.
so then we're going to give you the spotlight on Wednesday. We want to hear the nastiest thing that you have.
Well, that's probably the nastiest civilian.
You
The
just
rest
said
of it
it's
is
not.
just, well, the amount of feces I've had to deal with and grandma
Oh,
boobs and vomit and of course blood and guts. I've
so welcome to 2025.
actually held a decapitated head.
Oh, yeah, that might be too much for this show.
Right. Mostly
So,
decapitated.
so
Kind of.
we're gonna do like some TNC stuff. Getting back on topic here, but before we go on the TNC stuff, I need to give you an update on the KV4P Android connected 1 watt radio magical toy thing. It's
It's
a
great you mentioned that because we have a
it,
thing.
it's a toy thing. It's cool, and that's the thing about it. I think we were at like $30 on the group buy.
I
The group
believe
buy
that's
is
right.
full. We have 50 participants and a couple of extras in case somebody drops out or whatever the case may be. Um, Vance himself, KV4P, has mentioned that there is a couple of quality control issues on the ESP32 front, and it's a $3 computer, so I can't imagine how they'd ever have
Right.
quality control problems. So
Right.
you might see some out there that are, U-turn connected via USB-C to your radio, to your phone. You might see some that have a cable that are connected via USB-C cable with a USB-C to micro adapter to get into the ESP32. Some of them fit properly in the circuit board, some of them don't. There's all kinds of fun stuff. This is, bleeding edge technology kind of DIY stuff. So Chris has found the what he believes is the right model of ESP32 computer to attach to it, and he has to get that separately from the PCB. So everything's going to come soldered except for the ESP32. So if you guys need help with that, drop a line to me on Discord so that we can take care of that. Do we have a KV4P Discord channel? I thought
Yes,
we
we
did.
do. We
So
do.
stick it in that
We do.
channel, and we will do the updates. Smitty Halibut has version 2.0, which is newer than what we're doing, but also adds a whole bunch of extra stuff and came out in the middle of this group buy session and would have cost more. So we're going to get the 1.7 version, which is the 2 meter spurious emissions clean version.
What
And
is
we're going to have
Smitty
some.
doing? I knew there was a
Oh,
version 2 I heard about the other day, but I didn't know what the difference
that
was.
is the version. Bring up the website and we'll see what it is. But
I'll find it.
there's some cool stuff. Halibut Electronics or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's all licensed because it's open source hardware and Vance is aware of it and supportive of it. And you can also find fully built kits on eBay. If you missed the group buy, I think it's eBay or Etsy. I have to find a link for that. I dropped a link in the Discord, I think.
There is also a KV4P Discord server.
Yeah, he's got a Discord of his own. Yep.
Yeah. So today in our Discord, in the KV4P channel, I think it was, or general, I don't remember what channel exactly, folks were asking about, is anybody going to do a 3D printed case for this? And The answer is there are 2 designs out there already. My understanding at this point is one is for a 1.x board and the other is for a 2.x board. So if you go to Thingiverse and you look for KV4P HT, you'll find the 2 designs. And for those of you who don't have a 3D printer, $199 Bamboo Labs A1 Mini is your go-to on that. Or I will print them for you for a nominal fee. So,
Like
I mean,
shipping
like shipping and
pork chop
$5 for my time or something. I don't know. It'll be cheap. So if you don't have a 3D printer and you're religiously opposed to having one, or your wife says, no, you can't have any more crap in that room. Not that mine has ever said that.
Clearly,
I
you
can,
need a new wife at that point, right?
right.
We want to start drama here on Nuggets.
I mean, I'm on 2.0. It's only been 33 years, so the jury's still out on whether she's a keeper or not. I don't know.
Right.
But
Whether you're a keeper for her, I'm sure
right.
she's a saint knowing you.
Well, she said prison wasn't letting out that day, so she picked me.
Jeff, I do believe it is, but ask in the KV4P channel on the Toads Discord, and Chris will get you the answer to that.
And
See,
Frank
there's the answer.
posted
Thank you, Chris.
Frank posted a link because I'm on Halibut's page, but I didn't see it.
Products category ham KV4P.
There we go. V2. And let me share that. Here, tab. Go.
I got you added.
Thank you. Do I need to plus that up?
No, it's good. Even on my small screen.
So this is the V2. Let's see.
Hey, Jeff, I was talking to the other Jeff.
So Smitty will print a case for 20 and add it on. I will print a case for 15, including shipping.
Just to undercut him. Take that, Smitty.
I mean, shipping is going to be $5 to $7, depending on where you live in relation to me. And my time is valuable because I am a semi-professional YouTuber.
So this is a complete redesign. He's got a reset and a program button. He's got the ESP32 mounted sideways. He's got the radio on a chip mounted. I think the radio on the chip mounted sideways. He's got a GPIO. He's got a NeoPixel, so you can address it and change colors. There's some extra features on here that help it all out.
Nice. So this is the ESP32 here. What is this one?
Doc, me too.
Or is that for the 818 if you want an 818?
Oh, that's right. He's got the provision. Yeah, so you can either include it or not include it. The 818 is the footprint at the top of the board.
Okay.
That footprint that you've got on the screen right there is the ESP32 footprint.
I thought ESPs were rectangles.
They are.
Huh.
It sticks over into the dark green part. And that's dark green because there's no ground plane or anything there, because that's where the antenna is for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on the ESP32.
Okay. I gotcha. All right. Anyway, Frank has posted a link in the Discord if you want to buy one from the Smitward. And
we like Smitty. That's why we're giving him a hard time.
Smitty is great. And he's way smarter than us, at least about electronics. I mean, how he does with the ladies, I have no idea, but you know.
We've got him in the looks department for sure.
Absolutely. Got him beat on that. Hands down.
All right. So this is where we left off. All of the missing pieces are on the board. Ooh, it's upside down. That looks pretty good. So there is the next step here is the test point. And if you, I know a lot of you guys have bought these things and are playing along. And if you're ready to play along with us, great. If you're already ahead of us, you can help out in the chat by telling me what I'm doing wrong. And if you don't want to play along with building one of these things, you can buy one completely already built. And there's a link in the description down below for that as well. Let's see. So what it says is test number 1. The regulator test.
Did we acknowledge Doc?
I did. But you can acknowledge him again. He deserves
Doc,
twice.
thank you very much. You're awesome.
Where is it? Where is it? You're doing it wrong. Thank you. Okay, test procedure number one, and there's a camera right in my line of sight for my test screen here. Now that
Filament.
the
If you want 2-color, it's $25.
Now that the USB connector is on the board, 5-volt will get to the board. It will be regulated down to 3-volt by U2 and will show up at the CPU socket at pins 27 and 28. Hook the NinoTNC USB to a robust USB power source. Do not use a PC or expensive non-protected source until after the TNC passes the test. And I should have read ahead, because now I got to go dig and find that cable, because that is a USB printer cable.
A B connector, also known as a host cable.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's
Oh, bless your heart! I got like 5 of them right here.
Oh, well, I know exactly where the one is that I don't want to go and get because it's buried. But I might have to do that.
Well, I decluttered some yesterday. I'm kind of a project, and I must have found another 30 freaking USB cables. I'm getting close to starting to throw them out, which is painful for me to say, but
I bet.
I think they're reproducing in the dark.
So the question is, do I have an adapter? I don't think I have an adapter. I think we're going to have to do this the hard way, gentlemen. Yeah, no adapter. Okay.
Go fish.
Oh, I know exactly where it is. I just don't want to.
Well, I mean, I know where the fish are too.
Right? But I don't see you motivated to get your boat out.
Oh, I know right where it is too.
I think it's this case.
Keep praying for a storm to take the damn boat.
Look at that. See? I told you I knew exactly where it is.
That was not really digging. That was you had to bend over and find it. I mean, that was not hard.
I had to move the box of TNCs. This is literally full of TNCs, and there's still more than just this. And then I had to slide out the thing of radio components. This is my QDX kit. So that's the QDX radio. And then I also have the 50-watt amp, and I have the QCX Mini in here. And this kit is ready to roll. I did a whole bunch of videos on the channel on this stuff here. And I have some more that I want to do. That's why I brought it with me.
Exactly right, David.
Yes. Well, what's even worse is when you finally give up on the thing, that's when you find it. So the other day, I blew a fuse in a radio, and it's a glass fuse. And I didn't know this, but glass fuses come in 2 different sizes. And I had the mini glass fuses, and this took the maxi glass fuses. So I actually went to the hardware store, where I'm at is like the next block over. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but I still left the building and went to the hardware store, and they were closed. And when I came back, I had given up on the project and moved on to something else, which was cleaning up the mess of everything that's in here. And in cleaning up the mess, I found a small bag of glass fuses that were the right size that needed to be put away still.
I threw out some PS2 keyboards yesterday. I threw out a knockoff.
Those things, dude, if you can still get those back, they are worth good money on eBay. They're like $80 on eBay all day long.
For a PS2 keyboard?
It's because they're scarce. Yep. And that was like 3 years ago.
I have a box of crap that I filled up yesterday that's sitting in the back of my truck because it was too windy and cold for me to carry it over to the dumpster this morning. So I just left it in the truck where it can ride around till I feel like it. Yeah, the keyboard I have is a Microsoft PS2/USB keyboard. It has both connectors on it.
It's one of those
sideways
it's not,
ones? It's not that. It's a regular keyboard. Jim does not do those sideways ones. But it has a cable with both connectors, a PS2 and a USB. I shouldn't have thrown it out, but I may fetch it back.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, so set your volt ohm meter to a 5-volt or more scale and check for voltage at pins 27 and 28 of the 28-pin socket. These are the 2 pins in the upper right corner of the socket, the closest to the potentiometer. Okay, so it is these 2 pins here.
Exactly right, North 49.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Looks like 5.
5.33 volts.
Sweet.
And so this This is weird. I started off in all of this mess as a computer programmer, and in computer programming, things are right or wrong. And when you get into voltage levels on components like this, things are close enough. 4.8, 5.3, it's all good. It's fine. No big
I mean,
deal.
that's like 0.3 volts is what percentage of 5? Like 8% of 5 volts. And so it's 8% high, but that's okay. Close
Right.
enough.
Now, if it's more than like 10% off, it's death. It's way bad.
Mm.
All right, so we found it. Observe something between 3 and 3.6 volts on the display, and this should be within. Okay, so it's not supposed to be 5.
It's supposed to be 3.
Yeah, 3 and 3.6. So we're way too high. Yeah, so we need to fix that. Test fails. Inspect the USB connector, U2, C2, C3, and socket U3. Also look for any solder bridges. So why? There is a voltage regulator on here, and I forget. I think U2. Yeah, U2 is the voltage regulator. So that looks good. USB connector. All right, so we got to get out the magnifying glass so I can see.
Are you sure you are on the right pin? Because
Yes,
that you even
pin
have voltage kind of indicates everything's working. I just,
working, but right voltage was the question.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, 5.2. Oh, that's weird.
Apparently, I'm going to get the Microsoft keyboard out of the box of crap and put it on eBay. The chat,
Er,
the chat has spoken.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of money. I mean, I was shocked because I actually needed a PS2 keyboard for a project, and I'm like, nope, I don't need it that bad. I will just
Wow.
scratch the whole project for an $80 keyboard that I'm going to use one time. Yeah, wow, 27 and 28, and he shows you in the picture.
Jody said, and that's not the 3v3 check. 5v3 would be a little hot if it's supposed to be 3v3.
I am on step number test 1. Let me get you the link, which is in the description, by the way.
Jody's probably already got it pulled up, I would bet.
Paste. There's the link. I'll put it in the private chat if you want to follow along,
Yeah.
Jim.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little hot, Jody. Yep.
Oh, that's right. I got to scroll way down to get to the instructions.
Yeah, it's more than halfway down my screen. So negative, and if I switch that around, I get none.
Now, are you using the ground test point? Are you?
Oh, hang on. I'm using pin 27 and 28 and following the instructions in the picture.
Okay.
Okay, I have my meter set wrong. It's 3.2.
There we go.
Yeah, perfect. I actually had the meter set in the ohm scale, so I just moved it because this is not an auto ranging, auto sensing, auto everything meter, and I
Yeah.
forgot that. My good meter has dead batteries, so we use the Easy Cheap meter, which has been 100% reliable since the day I bought it, where the other one has gone through 2 sets of batteries already. All right, so the test has passed. So now we
All
can put
right.
the dip switch on. So I need to get the dip switch out of my set of parts. And this is, it literally is a set of switches. DIP stands for dual inline package, which is why you've got 2 rows of pins. And all you're doing is connecting or disconnecting the set of pins there. And while we're doing that, well, I guess before we do that, it's impossible to do that without soldering iron. Did you see Garth's picture? Oh no, it's members only. Garth has the prison version of this in the clear case.
Oh.
And if y'all don't know about that, Liberty Cave in the chat will probably help us out. But the prison version is there's some rule that says that electronics that go into a prison system for inmates need to be clear so that you can't hide nothing in them. Ham Radio Crusader celebrated a wedding anniversary, and I saw him on his Instagram, and I saw a 12-year-old Freddie Mac today, and his
Oh my
beautiful
gosh.
wife. It popped up in the announcements channel in the Discord.
Happy anniversary, Fredward.
Yeah, and I'd say congratulations to Amy, but congratulations to you, Freddie, because
Kicked out of
she
his
got
coverage.
yeah,
Is
she
that
got
what
to
you're
put up with
saying?
you. Yeah.
And Troy said he has a box of
Oh,
PS2 keyboards and mice. He'll ship it to you for shipping only.
he will ship it to you. I
No, he
I
said
have
at TO. He did not say Jim. Jim does not want to buy. Oh, I see what you're saying.
right.
You want me to be holding for you is what I'm hearing.
Troy, I have no place to store that in my RV, but I appreciate the
Troy,
thoughts.
thank you, but I'm throwing shit away. I mean, stuff away. So, I mean, I am going to go recover that Microsoft keyboard and see if I can squeeze $1 or $2 out of it on eBay.
Go to eBay, type in Microsoft PS2 keyboard, click on sold items.
Surely, I can't. I mean, it's hell. I've probably thrown away 100 of them in the last 10, 15 years.
But that's why they're
Microsoft
so expensive.
PS2
People like
keyboard.
you.
Of course, it would help if I could spell Microsoft correctly. Micro.
It doesn't have a dollar sign in it when you're searching for it by name.
Right. Holy Jesus.
Yeah. You threw away gold, son.
No, it's not. It's not thrown away. It's in the back of my
It's at the
truck.
curb.
No, it's in the back of my truck in a box.
Jim's like,
Wow.
I'll be right back. How much is it?
Hang on. Let me pop this up.
Holy moly! Yeah, I was guessing 80.
Microsoft. Now, see, that's the curvy one. I don't have that one. This is the one I've got, I think.
240. Now click on sold items. You're looking at the wrong numbers.
Okay,
Go
where's
down the
sold?
bottom left column. And then show only sold items, third checkbox from the bottom. So this is a pro tip. If you're trying to figure out how much something is worth, anything in green has sold.
Okay, see, this is like why I threw it away.
I'm surprised those are cheap. But see, there's $70. There's $50.
That's a natural keyboard.
Yeah, meh, yuck.
Yeah, see, this isn't even worth the time and effort
Hey,
to take a
tag.
picture. I'll pull it out of the trash, but
Yeah,
I think this
$35.
is it. That's it right there. I believe the Microsoft Internet keyboard.
Yeah. Now look up the Model M. Just type in IBM Model M at the top.
I'm with the guys. I do miss the clicky keyboards. Good
8-bit
Lord
dough.
in heaven.
Oh, it's in a new tab. You're not sharing that tab.
Oh,
Because thank you, eBay, for a improperly designed front page website. $1,500.
oh, that's a cheap one.
Yeah,
I mean, it's from Croatia, so it probably
yeah,
speaks Croat.
with
But
love.
wow, that is insane. I mean, I think this is the one I have, the Microsoft Internet keyboard.
Oh, weird. I believe if everything is to, I mean, it kind of doesn't
Huh?
matter, but it kind of matters. Okay, so let's get back to the dip switch thing real quick. Let's see that one.
Yeah.
So there is a dot here that's supposed to indicate pin 1, but the numbers read 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to put this in. I'm going to do it differently than what the dot says on purpose. There should be a notch. There's no real discernible notch. But the reason why is because if I put it in upside down, then I'm doing the wrong pin 1 switch. So I'm going by where pin 1 is indicated on the picture because these are just straight through. They're not
Right.
they're not mission critical, they're not polarity sensitive, but they are numerical sensitive according to the documentation. So I don't want
Is
to be
it?
forever
Where's your
translating.
pin 1 indicated? On the left?
My pin 1 is indicated top left by the top right by the dot, but it reads 1, 2, 3, 4 if I put it in this way, which
I
is the
would
way
do.
it
That's
looks
how I
on the
did it.
website.
That's
Yeah.
how I did it.
But also, this switch setting is probably a replaced part because we've had that part shortage issue nonsense going on forever.
Yeah.
So I put a little bit of solder on there. I'm going to check to make sure that it's all flat and happy. And it is, and we'll just go and do the rest of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tad.
Tad, we're with you on that.
Yeah, and in case y'all don't know who Tad is the writer of the documentation that we're using to build this. So I would have a hard time arguing with him.
Tad, who figured out the secret for putting the LEDs on? Because you did you show that? I don't remember us doing the LEDs.
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Oh, okay.
So there's some magic trick to it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a thing. It's a spacing thing just to bend them the right way so they fit in the case.
There we go. That looks pretty good.
Tad figured that out. Figures. The documentation is on point, buddy.
Oh, there's two of them? Oh crap.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
two dip
good.
switches.
I have in my pouch, I had this one right here, which has one set, and I reached in and grabbed the one, so there's only one left, and I went, crap, I've got another board to build. Because y'all know I got two of these, but there's the second set of two. So I had a little moment there where I was going to be
Stand
upset.
down. Just calm down. Don't ever say that to your wife.
Again.
But Steve, you calm down. I'm not married to him, so I can say that.
And then let's look at this picture. Yep, same thing. So yeah, there's two ways to win an argument with your wife. Again, marriage advice from T.O. and Jim here, mostly from me.
You've had more wives than I have, so you are truly a professional.
Yeah. So tell her whenever she's angry, you're so cute when you're mad. That just ends it, and she just falls in love with you all over again.
Good one.
And then the other one is, if you ever are fighting with your wife, just start slowly taking your clothes off.
And look her in the eyes while you're doing it.
I would do it to completely deadpan. And for no other reason than just to have a fun day because you had nothing planned. Just go up to her in the morning and go, "Are you cranky? Why are you cranky?"
Oh, Jody is snarking on Tad. Indirectly, you too.
Yeah, he's making fun of me.
I think he told you to get your shine box. Apparently,
he did. And in case you've never been to this show before, I have to give you two warnings. One is don't follow the advice I give you on marriage. And two, because it's sarcasm. And two is we don't know what we're doing on purpose. We're kind of doing this together step by step. I have not looked at these instructions until I apply solder to parts. I mean, I know how to solder for the most part. I don't know how to say the word solder for you UK folks, and I know that, but I'm not from the UK. I'm well aware of its UK meaning. But in my defense, when I say the word three, I pronounce that properly. I don't say free. So
the official pilot way to say three is tree.
Oh,
they
really?
teach you that. It always drove me crazy saying that.
I don't know why.
But if Tectonics Bill is in here. Bill, do you say tree or three on the radio?
Right.
Tree.
Jason, even if you're right, you're wrong. Yes.
Bill's a pro. I knew that. What's up, Bill?
And Niner.
Niner, that's right. And Fife, F-I-F-E, not five, Fife.
All right, so I have the dip switches in place. And they look pretty good. Sorry, Jim. Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, now
perfect.
I have the switch.
Bill does not drop the Niner. He sometimes says Fife. I never got Fife because, I mean, it's like, what would you confuse five with?
Well, I mean, when you say tree, I would confuse it with a tree.
Well, in the context of flying the airplane, well, I mean, if you scream out tree, that could mean something to your co-pilot that you didn't intend. But I could see.
So if you haven't built out one of these things before and you haven't seen the instructions, Tad has done a fantastic job on these instructions. There are at least one pictures per, and sometimes 4 pictures per. So on the how to install the switches we just did, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that picture has everything grayed out except for the parts that are important. 5. There are 5 pictures on how to install 2 switches on the board. And now I'm going down to the switch. There's a picture of the switch so you know what you're doing. There's a picture of where it goes. There's a picture of what it looks like in several different views. So there's 4 pictures of the switch. And this has got spring-loaded feet, so it's not going to fall out when you...
Yeah, I love those components with the spring-loaded feet because you don't have to try and hold the thing in while you're... Because it's a lot of solder to get those feet in there really good. And what step are you at?
24-ish?
24-ish?
24, yep.
All right. Because I went a little too far.
Yeah, we're more
Regulator
than halfway
test,
through
you
the
got the switches. There we go. Okay. So you're putting on switch 2. Okay.
Yeah. I like that this pine sill is very small and lightweight because I'm actually like, using my mouse here while I'm holding the soldering iron. In the next steps, you'll be soldering 5 LEDs onto the PCB. When you cut the leads, save the trimmings for use as scope test loop wire in a later step. You only need 3 longish thick wire leads for the scope test loops, but save as many as you can for practice purposes. I agree with that. I used to have a whole ramekin filled with cast off parts.
A ramekin? Well,
You know what a
thank you,
ramekin
Gordon
is?
Ramsay.
Yeah, I knew how to use ramekin before Gordon Ramsay.
Well, I mean, I do too. It's just not
Not before him, but before I saw his show. I've actually never seen his show.
Which one?
Any of them. I only know of Gordon Ramsay through memes, which is how I get most of my news, by the way.
Right.
This step we're going. So you told me there was something weird about the LED, so I'm reading hard if you want to share that screen out. Step 25.
Okay. So the LEDs, and Tad developed this procedure, and this is pure genius. If you print the case with the LEDs on the front, where's my case? Not where I'm going to reach it. So he has you bending it over a USB-A connector, although it looks like they're showing a C connector here in the picture. But if you
It's
follow their
sideways.
procedure, yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. If you set it on the side of the USB-A connector like that, and bend the leads, then it will line up perfectly with the holes on the front of the 3D printed case. It'll be the right distance to just poke in the LED hole. It works out perfectly. Because that is someplace where you'd be tempted to shove all that lead through the board, solder it, and cut it off, and you would be wrong.
Don't do that. Don't be
So just put it on the side and bend it over, and you're good.
So Starman, thank you. Hacks with Axe says, need to get me some surface mount kits. Hacks, I have 2 videos on doing surface mount by hand on the channel right now. But I would like to get into eventually, maybe a couple of years down the road when I'm out of the RV, the solder mask and the paste method with the heat tray and everything. And then Craig is asking me, am I using the pine sill plugged in for a reason? Yes, this looks like it has room for batteries in it, but it is not battery powered. It needs to be plugged into either a USB-C port, which is what I'm using, or a DC barrel jack. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any heat. James Cook, you missed nothing at all.
Well, we did give out marriage advice, James. We've also talked about official pilot talk. We glanced through the surface of gross paramedic stories just very quickly.
We actually went a little deeper than we should have, but rewind.
Probably.
Okay, so I have to get my matching red USB connector, otherwise I'm not following the instructions properly. Let's see. LEDs.
And see, David, I agree with you. We should use Niner because it's a NATO thing too. And we should all be using the NATO standard alphabet anyway. So yeah, 5 Niner makes perfect sense to me.
Okay, there's 1, 2, 3.
Chris, yes, it did go a little dark. Just again, barely.
Okay, so now there's a polarity question. Does he talk about the polarity on the LEDs? Or does he just say bend them and go with God?
No, he does talk about the polarity. So let me
Because
pop up
you have to
the.
bend it in the right direction.
Yes, you do. So let's see. Grab a
So the
USB-A
short lead is
connector.
toward the cable side of the
Yep.
connector.
Yep.
Okay. So the reason why we go over the short lead, long lead thing is because there is polarity on these guys here, and I'm going to show it big so y'all can see it. So anode, cathode, positive, negative, and he wants the short side on the connector like so. So the short side goes towards the where the wire would go if you had a full on wire, but we're on a budget here on nuggets. We don't get full wire connectors.
Right. Ken Lewis, the Darwin Award winners are not the medics typically. It's usually the people we see. Got to say,
I messed
there
that
were
up
some
just a
winners.
tad. All right, so there's one. And ultra precision matters in this if you're going into a 3D printed case and want it perfect. But if you're going to run just the raw board, then this is good enough. Two.
Well, Ken, there was a few medics that fought to win a Darwin Award. I mean, I know a couple.
Okay.
While he's bending his diodes,
That really
true
bends my
story.
diodes.
True story. I was not involved in this. This was not me. A couple of knuckleheads that I knew from paramedic school were stationed at one of the neighboring fire stations. It was during a hurricane. And I want to say this was Katrina, I think, or Ivan back in 2005. And so the power was out and the station was on generator. So this particular layout, there was a room built into the inside of the station for the medics, the ambulance company medics, not the fire department, because they didn't have medics over at that department. So there was a room built into the station where the ambulance company, the private ambulance company, stationed their bus out here in the county. But the power's out because it's a hurricane, right? And so these two particular individuals decided they wanted power, so they cranked up the generator, but it was blowing rain in, so they shut the bay doors in the station with the generator running. Almost won the Darwin Awards, both of them. And I'm like, I don't even understand how you could be associated with being an EMS and not know about carbon monoxide poisoning, and certainly not in the fire department.
Isn't that part of your training? Don't they beat that
I
into you?
mean, they mentioned it in a paragraph on, like, I don't know.
Oh, you mean like
page.
nutrition in a doctor's office? Okay.
Right. I mean, and one of the Snowden fire department, that's the other fire department, one of their guys just happened to go by the station and heard the Jenny running and saw the door down, and he's like, what the actual hell?
Don't you guys know any better than this?
Those idiots were in there unconscious from carbon monoxide poisoning, and they were probably pretty close to meeting Jesus face to face.
Asphyxiation?
Yeah.
He's got like 90 pictures of how to put these LEDs on.
Well, once you got the bend, just shove them in there and solder them. That's it.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I mean, it's kind of a sad looking bend on a couple of those, but.
Well, you know.
Well, when you solder them, you can straighten them out a little bit because you kind of want them lined up.
Them aligned with the edge of the PCB.
Like the white one is, not the green one and the yellow one.
So you want a little bit of an air gap there?
I mean, if you bent them, yeah, they need to be up a little bit.
You don't want to.
Let me get my board. Hold on. Oh my God. You guys are seeing too much behind the scenes here.
Too much behind, Jim.
You ain't seen my behind. I don't show my behind. Might show my ass occasionally, but So this is hang on. Let me embiggen me. I don't want him to be solo. There we go. All right, Stephen.
Timothy.
That's how my LEDs look.
Okay.
So you're close.
Close enough.
So
I'm going to do the 1-pin solder trick thing anyway.
this one weird trick.
Yeah, so if you put just one in, then you can reheat it and adjust it.
Yes, and I had to do
Much
that because
easier than two.
it's really hard to try and get it in there straight the first time.
Yeah, see, they're all crooked up.
Mm-hmm.
They're standing at half mast.
And if any of you guys have this kit and need a 3D printed case, holla, and I'll print one for you. Again, nominal fee. Shipping is included.
Now, if you do get one printed by Jim, it's going to come in wood grain
Yeah.
PLA.
You know, you guys care about the paneling way more than I do. I'm 62 years old. I've lived here for the past 34 years. I don't give one crap about the paneling in this room that is my little cave in the house. So I'm not spending a dime on it. It hides the studs
Hey,
and holds the insulation.
the more they talk about your paneling, the less they talk about my wallpaper.
Right? Or the fact
It's
that your roof is curved.
That's the front of the trailer. It's aerodynamic, Jim.
Don, just look on Thingiverse. They're on Thingiverse.
It bugs
Look
me
for
enough that my LEDs are
Nino
all different
TNC.
sizes. Also,
I think I dorked one up, but I have a whole bunch of LEDs in my parts. So
one of these LEDs wasn't available at the time of ordering, so I had to substitute an LED, which is ridiculous that they ran out of LEDs at the factory.
Marvin, exactly right. And we would hand out therapeutic post-drinking IVs in the fire department as well for those of our friends who were needing a little help. Ringer's lactate will fix you right up.
What is in that? Salt water?
It's it's saline based, but it's got electrolytes in it, so it's magnesium,
It's got like
potassium,
plant
calcium,
sprayed.
etc. Yeah, it's Gatorade without green coloring or any flavor, but you're getting it IV, not oral. So
Let me do that downward.
James, we didn't carry D5W, we carried D50, and I'm not going to juice anybody up with that unless they need it. Right, Chris Robinson? I survived the 70s. I mean, I was at my prime in the 70s, man. I pimped a leisure suit like John Travolta, baby.
Hey, by the end of the 70s, I was out of diapers, I think.
Your mom and I thought you would never get done.
Right. So I looked at I had all my kids spaced really closely together, and I did the math. My oldest brother is 8 years older than me. So my parents were in diapers for what, 13 years?
Bless their hearts.
And more than one kid in diapers at a time. I mean, I had 3 kids in diapers at the same time, so I get it, but wow.
I had a baby with stinky feet.
Yeah, I had 2 of those.
I mean,
Okay.
I love my daughter, but my God, those feet would knock a maggot off a dump truck. Like, how does the baby's feet stink? He doesn't wear shoes.
You feed it.
I think it was something her mother was feeding her, yeah.
Is this the right chip? Hey, look, it fits. Okay. So these chips usually come a little splayed from the factory, and they do make devices that will line these up. But I find, and you can get them at 3D printing websites
I
or
do
wherever.
it exactly like you do, buddy. That is
Just
the way.
slow. Go very slow,
Easily. And even pressure across.
because it's easy to add more pressure as you need it, but once you've added too much, it's really hard to take it back.
And Don, Google. Pretend you know about computer stuff, Don, and look for NinoTNC case. Look on Thangs or Yegi because it's on there, buddy. I'll Google after the show for you, Don. I promise.
And then even after I do all that, it still might be a little loose, a little wide for the socket. So I will push it over. And if it's too loose, I'll readjust and add more force.
Needle nose pliers would possibly work.
They do. The pins aren't fragile, but they're fragile. And I'm sure this is a static sensitive device, so ground yourself on something before you start working.
Like plastic.
Ham radio, yeah. Again, sarcasm. Like your ham radio workbench power supply, if you touch that, then you've got to pat the ground and you discharge all the static out of you.
Grab your antenna coax, you know.
Or you can, wear a static strap.
Frank has dug it up for you, Don. There's the link to the case. There's actually two cases out there because there's a front LED case, which is how TO has the lights oriented, and there's a top LED case.
And Tad has made a new case.
Oh, okay.
So before you drive it all the way home, make sure you have every single pin in and you don't have one that's pushed inward into the socket or one that's pushed outward out of the socket. And then after you drive it all the way home, take a good look at it and make sure that you got it right. And this is actually the first time I've used those rolled sockets, the rolled pin sockets versus the double wipe sockets. And it just snaps into place like I don't know if you heard it on camera, but there was a snap sound in there.
Tad, if you are on the Discord, I think you are, shoot me a link for that new case so I can post it in here. We can take a look at it.
All right, test number 2, attach a USB-A to USB-B powered cable. So I got to get my cable back off the floor.
Cam, it's possible. Not likely, but it's possible.
We're just making progress.
I mean, we got 51 shows yet to do this year. Don't just calm down. Just
I plugged
calm
it
down.
in and the blue light lit up. Watch that. Poof.
Yeah, they should cycle, so that's good.
The first time the DS PIC is powered, it will execute a program related to field programmability. During this process, the green LED will be lit and will flash. Okay, that wasn't the green one. Did I put the green one in the blue hole? No, I did that right. Okay, something else is going on then.
Jody is asking dip switch settings. No, we get to those and then we will set some dip switches, but just powering it up, the lights should sidle on.
The green LED will be lit and will flash, and I only got the blue LED to flash. Oh no, okay, so they all cycled. Maybe I've already passed that step. Because now if you look, they're cycling. Let's get some mood lighting on. Ooh, did you see it, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, if you change the mode switch before you turn your light back on, flip one of the dips on the mode switch. That's the one on the bottom under TARPN. You have the board upside down, but they will cycle every time you change modes.
That's neat. What'd you do tonight? I made LEDs cycle. Well, actually, somebody else made them cycle.
Right, you plugged them in.
Cool.
Dim all the lights, sweet baby. Is that the one you're thinking of, Hollywood?
Yeah. So I'm going to set the mood later tonight. More marriage advice.
Right. Show your wife your blinking LEDs.
Yeah. You should be so proud. After the first time the CPU is powered up, and normally on any other power up, the CPU will drive 4 of the 5 LEDs through a sweep back and forth, which is handy to prove that those 4 are installed correctly. Done. Depending on mode switch settings, this cycle will run once or repetitively. Start with the mode switch set to 000, which would have all 4 of the switches pulled down with respect to the TARPN text. Correct. Let's put them all up.
No, my blue LED is a blue LED.
Mine is white, clear,
yeah.
and in color, but light in blue. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense. The plastic is clear.
Yeah. And if you push the test button, that's the momentary switch. Your red light should pop on. No, the one by your thumb.
I'm reading the directions.
Okay. Sorry.
The PTT LED should not have illuminated, which it did not.
By your command.
Note the yellow LED probably won't stick on like the video seems to indicate. That's a feature of how I made the video. Applying power will result in one sweep of the LEDs unless the switch is set to a non-supported mode. PTT light test should prove the CPU can individually operate the PTT LED and that the signal from the CPU to the LED is not shorted. Press and release the test TX button slowly several times. Turn that light off again. Ooh, look at that.
Beauty. Yep.
I get a little blue grace note too. Y'all know what grace notes are, or what instrument you use to play grace notes. I am printing a clear case so I can use it in prison, because I plan on going to prison here shortly. Unplug the plug. Done it. If all 5 LEDs will illuminate and the mode skip to the next step, you are done with the LEDs.
Yeah, Don, there's 4 Nino cases on printables.com. NinoTNC, one word. And I printed the A4 housing.
So if those LEDs didn't light up properly, Tad's got a humongous amount of troubleshooting instructions.
Yeah.
Now we do some test point stuff.
The blue light indicates a packet was queued, and then it goes off when the packet was sent, which is what the test button does for us.
So he's saying to install test loops now with your needle nose pliers. Form a loop out of the cut off solder legs. So put it in, bend it over. Where is the test loop? There's one there. Really? The grooves in the Leatherman are the exact size of the solder leg. We can make this
Perfect.
work. Yeah, exactly.
Hillbilly Ham's already printing up Meshtastic cases. Well, he's printing up Meshtastic cases at the moment. Wrong case, buddy.
I was so very close to the right size.
Jody, yes, it does. That was Athena. And genuflect when you say her name, because she was the hottest one on that show, except for Jane Seymour. Jane Seymour was hotter, I think.
Really? One of these holes is a different size than the other hole, I think. Or something's going on. So there's one test point there. Where's the other test point?
So you have a ground on the bottom, and then you have 2 on the top. The top, you have the board upside down.
Yep,
So,
see him.
okay.
Doesn't want to go in.
I'm still not too young for Jane, Jody. And I mean, I've sent messages to her. She answered me one time, "What does restraining order mean?"
Right?
Yeah, Michael, we were talking about the original BSG. Serena. She played Serena on the original Battlestar Galactica.
And she wasn't on for long. Like
No, they killed her
the
off.
first episode or something?
Maybe 2 or 3.
Because she was Boxy's mother.
She was Boxy's. She picked up Boxy during the attack on Caprica.
Oh.
She's not even his real. She ain't his real mom. And that between that annoying kid and the Robo Dog, like he was a little too.
The Daggett.
Yeah.
But that Daggett, they couldn't have survived without the Daggett.
Oh, Marvin Dreesen. You are correct, sir. Aaron Gray as Colonel Wilma Deering and Buck Rogers. The opening scene is worth it to sit through the rest of the show, but yeah.
So we've got Pamela in the chat here. How does Pamela feel about us talking about all these ladies?
I'm
Good,
saying they're
better,
beautiful.
Pamela.
Pamela, I hope we haven't offended you. I'm sorry. We're mostly men here, and we are pigs, every one of us. So
Best Lauren Green death scene. He made it all the way to Galactica 1980, and like none of the other cast made it. And
no, they did not.
It's one of those shows you probably just shouldn't watch. Like they should just declare that non-canon.
It was horrible. I consider it non-canon.
Whether they do or not.
Frank, you are a pig. You're a man, you're a pig. We're all pigs. We're men pigs. There's no man alive that is not a pig. I mean, I just recognize this. Oh, Princess Ardala on Buck Rogers also. And I can't remember that actress's name, but she was a smoke show.
I don't see Pamela has ever answered. Maybe
Pam Hensley.
Left. I think she left, Jim. Like you offended her.
Frank probably offended her. Ron, that's right. Battlestar 1980 was a dream sequence.
Crap. I was being way too perfectionist with this.
Pam Hensley, that was Princess Ardala. Yeah, she was hot.
Why are these holes smaller than all the rest of the holes? That's going to bother me too much.
Ken, I don't think she was his mother. I think she picked him up during the attack on Caprica in the first episode. Because I think she was a reporter or something. Of course, being a space science fiction show, everybody flies a fighter. But
I don't remember already soldering that part in, but sure.
I never watched Space 1999. I vaguely remember it. It had Martin Landau and Barbara something on it, who was Landau's wife. I can't remember her last name, but I don't remember much else about the show. Right, Eamon?
Okay.
Ted, I think that was what I thought about 1999. I mean, I vaguely remember seeing parts of an episode or something. And then I probably went and talked to a girl and just moved on. It just I register nothing about 1999 except those two people. Barbara Bain, that was the female lead. That's Martin Landau's wife. Yeah.
I guess I did solder them in, but man, I do not remember it. Getting old, Jim. And then I accidentally got some solder on one of the, not that it
on your mat?
No, on one of the mounting points.
Spilled over. Freddie, I do remember Logan's Run, but I could not name one human being in that. I vaguely think the guy who played Logan is somebody famous that I should remember.
Jenny Agutter?
Jenny Agutter. That's right.
Really weird movie.
Yeah, when you turn 30, you have to take the sun or whatever.
Yeah, you must die.
Who was the guy? Was that Sam Neill?
No, I don't think so. Okay, now he's saying that these next two chips are identical looking, but not identical. And I just put my flyers away. So this is a
Michael York. That's right.
trick they do with these plastic chip tubes is they bend over a corner so that the chips don't fall out in shipping. Okay, so you can tell these are different by the writing that is on them. I don't know why I wanted to turn the one upside down so I saw it better. One of these is an MCP 2221 alpha. The other one is an MCP 6004. And that's already a substitution from what was in the instructions. And these don't go into a chip socket.
Oh, excuse me.
So this is the 6004 version, and it goes up here.
Marianne all day, Michael. Michael's doing an informal poll. Michael, I don't have the juice to put a poll up in YouTube.
Because he's so busy.
When I don't have the power. And you're
yeah, I don't think you do.
doing work. Marianne, though. Marianne or Ginger? I mean, Marianne, I think, by far is way hotter than Ginger ever was. Did any of you guys watch John Carter of Mars? I think that's what it was actually called. I don't remember the name exactly of the movie. It was adapted from the Edgar Rice Burroughs novel.
All right, here we go. That one is in. I had to use my chip bending technique. And then we will place one pin only.
The princess in that movie. And I cannot even think of her name.
Yeah, it must be a prison tube. That's right. We can take that one off the screen now. I did the same thing with putting one pin in and then verifying that it looked the way that I wanted it to look on the board. And then we just put the rest of the pins on. So I guess one of the things I should do is intentionally make a solder bridge on one of these pins and then show how to fix it.
Deja Thoris. I could not think of the character name. I don't remember who played her, but she was gorgeous. One pin, T.O., one pin only.
Exactly.
And here's some movie trivia while he's soldering his pin. There is a character, there's an actor who was in John Carter of Mars and who was in The Wire.
Okay, so there we go. I have all of those soldered in nicely next to some stuff that was soldered in gooeyly. So, but I can't get this thing to focus very well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bridge one of these pins on purpose, which is putting way too much solder in place so that now those pins are connected. See how I've got that big bright shiny thing right there?
Yes. What are you trying to do here?
Individual pins. I'm showing what happens if you solder wrong. And I had to actually work hard to solder wrong, and then how to fix it. And traditionally, the easiest way to fix it is take your soldering iron and just wipe between them. Ta-da!
Yep. Because the solder doesn't typically stick to the silk screen stuff. Unless you've been holding the soldering iron there on way too long and you've melted through to the bottom layer.
Right. So that's it. If you ever do that, that's how you fix that. And then it does leave a mess of the rosin core on the board, and we'll come back and fix that later. And the stuff that's left behind is flux, and that is actually conductive. So if you have a problem with your board, it could be that you need to clean it. Was that chip supposed to go on the underside of the board?
No.
Did I just do that whole thing wrong?
No, they're on the front side.
Okay. Because he's got a weird photo in the instructions. Maybe it's just the desk that's shining through the footprint. That's what it is. It's his desk shining through. I'm like, did I do that wrong? Okay, so the other board goes, the other pin, the other chip goes up by the USB socket, and there's stuff underneath of that. We're just gonna cover that up. Note the extra header pins underneath. These pins are for an optional header to be used if the NinoTNC will have a TTL interface and separate 5-volt source. Could be handy for an embedded project where USB interconnect would be inefficient. Oh, that's awesome. So you can hook that right up to a serial port and control it directly instead of having this, which is probably a USB to serial converter type chip. Just guessing.
Yeah, I think that's correct, because doesn't it has the pin out under your finger there for using the serial connection.
The 4 hidden pins underneath of this.
Yeah.
That's pretty slick. So I need to adjust the size of this. My big hands. And this is why you start with the smallest items and work your way up. Because,
now, are you a blue tack guy for holding that stuff down, or?
Nah, I kind of went over that last episode. I'm going to do the same thing here, though. I bent my solder up. I'm going to get a big old glob of solder on my soldering iron, more than necessary.
Like a Frank glob?
Yeah. And then I'm going to tap a pin into place, 1 pin only, and now it's holding itself, and I can check to make sure everything's good. And if it is, I just solder a different pin. Double check one last time, and then go back and for real solder that first pin. There we go.
Now, they're talking in the chat about, surprisingly, not movies at this point.
Good.
But about socketing everything.
Yes, you can do that.
And that there's a lot to be said for that. It adds a little bit of work, but
and cost.
If you smoke the chip, you can replace it easily. Aussie Ham Radio. Yes, sir. How's it going, Glenn? BK2HTV. Yes, this will do APRS as well as a whole bunch of different other packet things. I've used mine and done APRS with it. It works quite well with. I use Pinpoint APRS, and I've played with it with Direwolf as well. I just like Pinpoint a whole lot easier to set up than Direwolf. John Gendron up in the chat. What's up, brother?
Oh, crap. John's here.
I know. We got hitters in the chat between Tad and John. We're in trouble. And Hollywood. You're being judged, Stephen. Just saying.
Usually. All right, so we're on step number 30 now. C16, capacitor 16. This capacitor is in the receive audio and serves to remove DC offset from the received audio. If this part is missing, there won't be any received audio. Okay. And this is a 0.15 microfarad capacitor, and it should be the only one I have left, but I don't see it. Because my paper, let me unzoom. Look at that amazing camera work. My
It's
paper is
beautiful, man.
completely empty at this point. So that can go in the trash can. And why do I not have that? Okay, so I have two of those. That says Q1, not C1. Did I have two of them on here, or did I just put them on the wrong piece of paper? I already used that one. Ah, that was the argument we had before with the...
C16, not C1.
Nope,
Yo.
nope. Yeah, C16, correct. What happened, I was calling it Q1 because that's what I had listed on the parts here. What happened was, if y'all remember from last episode, we put a part in wrong. We put the wrong part in the wrong hole and had to desolder it. So it's
That's
actually
right.
here, which is why I can't find it. Yeah, I was not happy. I was sweating again. Okay. And this is 15J631N5, which is not the part number that he shows on the screen, which is what we ran into. And it says, this capacitor looks just like C9. Look at the label carefully. So now let's find C9, and did we screw that up? Nope. It is what it is. It's all we got. Let's do it. C16 right there.
God, Chrome, stop sending me messages.
Yeah, Jim, you got a virus. Didn't you take your vaccination? Yeah, there's still some solder mess on there.
So one of our subscribers, one of our members, Jonathan, W5GI,
Hey, John.
is in the chat, Jonathan Slosby. And Jonathan is either in or about to be in the British Virgin Islands, and he has a radio down there. So I will work to get a schedule from Jonathan of when he might be available to operate, and we can add BVI to our call list.
Nice.
Because I'm pretty sure I don't have BVI. He's got his Ghetto Flex is in BVI. His new one is at his house. But
What's a ghetto flex?
John, he bought a 8600.
Ah, okay.
Glenn,
So,
I don't know if he's doing FT8 or not. He's in the chat.
I had to clean off the solder mess from soldering this component in improperly last time.
Now, are you a solder sucker guy or a solder braid kind of guy?
I am a solder braid guy at this point, but I do have, and you've seen it in prior videos, a
The sucker?
desoldering gun.
Yeah.
Because I did an 8-hour marathon of desoldering a Commodore 64.
I probably missed that video, buddy. I'm sorry.
You didn't watch all 8 hours of it? The cool part about it was is that it was set to SID music, SID tunes. So really just put it on as a background music and
Right.
have at it. All right. Not serial port time. These are not serial ports. They're just 9-pin ports.
Hollywood is a braid guy because sucker can ruin the copper traces. I'm with Chris Robinson on this. Whichever one's easier at the moment.
Yeah.
For tight spaces, definitely. For big globs, like to remove Frank level solderoids, a solder sucker all day.
I mean, you could just hold it upside down and apply heat and it would just drip off.
And Frank's would have dripped off, yes.
For about an hour and a half or so.
Frank had a solderoid bigger than a lot of small children's heads.
So if you have used solder braid and it did not work for you, it's probably old and dry.
Yes, I learned that from Hollywood.
So I threw away my old solder braid and then bought new solder braid to fix that problem and then was promptly told, no, you could just add flux to that.
Yep. He told me that. I just drag it through. I drag it through the tin of flux every time I use it. Now I don't even worry about it. I just drag it through the flux and flux it up.
So you can have a pretty impressive solder station, solder kit, solder everything, and do a lot of impressive stuff. Um, but I have this pine sill, I have my flush cutters, I have my brass wool, I have my solder, I have my solder braid, and then the rest of it is just magnifying glasses so I can see what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan, any one of my FT8 videos, how to FT8 videos, even if it's not for your specific radio, will give you a ton of extra information that will help you figure out what's going on. So take a look at one of them.
Yeah, we're trying to bring Jonathan over to the dark side of FT8. He hasn't done that yet, but he's going to be on both the islands down there. So, John, if you will email me a schedule or something, I'll post it in Toads. I don't think you're on Toads. You should be. I mean, it's cool. And
Where all the cool kids hang out, yeah.
that's right. Yeah, I definitely want to get you in the logbook anyway, and in the BVI would be even cooler.
Okay, so now we got to set the potentiometers, and I can't tell, but they're supposed to have a little arrow on them, and they do. And he wants that pointed directly downward, which it is. So this is test number 3, and this is going to be the last thing we do today, hopefully. This procedure will show that the op amp is soldered in correctly and that the support components for the transmit and receive audio paths are installed by actually sending a packet out through the transmit audio path and back through the receive audio path, demonstrating that most of the components must be working. That sounds very positive and encouraging. Most of the
Right.
components must be working. It is our expectation that if the NinoTNC passes loopback test for 9600 baud, it should work correctly with the 9600 capable radio, and I've got quite a few of them to test with it. So step 1, turn them. If you get out your magnifying glasses, one of the points on the plus sign is actually an arrow.
Yep.
Put them all the way down. Set the signal switch to off, on, off.
I've
Actually, toggle.
soloed your hands.
Okay.
You can zoom in
So
so we can actually see it. What you're talking
yeah.
about?
So off, on, off. I think. Is that right?
Yeah, that seems right.
Use the switch positions you want if you are connecting your NinoTNC to the mic connector of your radio and using a speaker jack connection to the NinoTNC. The first and fourth switches will be towards the TARPN logo. No, it's exactly the opposite.
Yes,
It's
Tad just jumped in there. I
down,
knew it was 2 in the middle were the other way from the 2 on the outside. I didn't remember up or down.
up, down. I figured we'd get there.
I had a 50-50 chance. I needed a break. I took a shot.
There was no danger. I took a shot.
Can you show them the arrows again, Steve?
I can show them, but you're not going to see them.
Well, actually, we kind of can now. Beauty. There's a pointy end on one of those arrows on the plus sign. And
It's
when
the one
you
that
do,
looks
if
a
you
little
do,
weird.
yeah, if you're building this, you'll clearly see it. It's really hard to see on camera, but
I'm surprised it's doing this good of a job. It's in focus. It just isn't
yeah,
in zoom. You can kind of tell that something was going on there. Set the mode
yeah.
switch to off, on, off as well. So that is down, up, down. Attach a USB A to B, which is on the floor again. Watch the lights. Watch the lights jiggle.
So cool.
Observe the LEDs flowing left and then right across. Did that. Press and hold the TX switch and observe the red TX switch illuminating. I did that. When the test TX switch is released, I'm looking around my camera. When the test TX switch is released, the blue TXQ LED will then come on for half a second. Then both LEDs will go out. The red TX LED may stay on for a very short time after the blue TX. The yellow DCD light may flicker at any time during this process. It may. It does not, but it may. So the fact that it doesn't isn't that big of a deal. Power it off and then power it back on by pulling and replugging, which I did. Okay. Now use a clip lead to jumper between the TXA scope loop and the RXA scope loop. And I think those are in the back of the truck. Dang it. Can I do that with what I have here? Can I finagle something? We're going to use some ingenuity here, I think.
Just solder it.
That's what I'm going to try and do, yeah, but I need like another 4 hands. And obviously I would
Right.
also need enough room to operate 4 hands here. Okay. It's going to get ugly. Let's use something disposable, because this actually is probably going to take less time than going out to the truck.
Mhm. That doesn't seem sketchy at all.
Ta-da!
Get out of town. Ape can have his manual tuners. You are an alpha ham.
Oh, I had to do this with surface mount components inside of the XPA 125B amp, and the way the leads were set up, I was melting the solder on both sides of the component with the soldering iron. Oh, that's plugged in while I'm doing that. Probably shouldn't do that. He says to plug it in though.
Yeah, it's fine. It's your loopback, right?
Yeah. So I was transmitting and receiving at the same time. So we did all that. We did all that. Power off, then power back on. We did that. Now use a clip lead to jumper between. Press and hold to test TX switch and observe. Okay, so in the real world, if you had real clip leads, when you plug that in, they would just stay attached. And that's probably not that great of an idea, because it's touching other components while I put it in place. Got it. There we go. So the green light stayed on for a bit. So when I push it, red, then blue, then yellow, then green, and green stays on for a little bit. Can y'all see that? Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah.
It's hard to see the
Yeah.
green on top of the green, but it's there. You can tell when it goes off more than you can tell that it's on.
Jonathan, this is a great way to do an eye gate. Plus, this is a nice kit. I mean, it looks fairly complex, but the instructions are just. We've talked about this a bunch, and I don't know if you caught all the other shows, but Tad, who's in the chat with us, Tad wrote the documentation, and it's jam up.
Okay, there we go. So I did
See you,
that. I
John.
released it. The red remains on. The blue will come on for a half a second, then it goes out. And the red will remain on for a very short time, then goes out. The green OK LED will come on to announce that a packet was received through the loopback jumper. On some versions of the yellow will come on a while just after the green OK. Should stay on for a couple of seconds, then go out. Yep. The board does not display the green OK LED. Try wiggling clip leads. A poor contact on the scope loops can result in a test failure. Without an input signal, the yellow DCD LED is allowed to blink periodically. This is a function of the automatic gain control, AGC. In the absence of all noise, depending on the firmware version, it may become very sensitive and can start hearing intermittent bits of silence. It can hear silence! If the board passes at 1200 baud, check it at 9600 baud. The mode switch should be set to off, 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 off. The test will run quicker, but it should pass. The mode switch is that one. Off is all the way up. Yeah, it runs much quicker. The
See you, geekiest.
only critical switch position for loopback testing is mode switch 1. The loopback should occur regardless of the other switch positions. It is possible to set TX low potentiometer to a position where the loopback will not succeed. The loopback test may fail if you push the TX button too soon after the previous test. Let the lights all go out first. Okay. The loopback test may fail for other non-defect reasons like bad connection on a clip lead or RF noise locally using the clip lead as an antenna. In my experience, I have gotten failures on a perfect board, but only intermittently. With testing over and over again, if the loopback test fails continuously, take note of the switch positions. Most common mistakes in assembly are badly soldered parts or interchanged parts. We've seen capacitors interchanged. We've seen the wrong value on the TX-dev potentiometer. Check the CPU pins, make sure none is bent under the... Okay, so it worked, so I'm okay with that. The green LED light is a sign of a passing test. The yellow LED light does not illuminate. So we did that. Yep, okay. So the green light is on and it passed.
Yeah, we can see it. We see it flash. The green light's really hard to see. Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, no, it's not flashing.
I hadn't seen the green light pop on yet.
It was coming on until I turned all the lights off.
I think it happens fast.
There it is.
Point the LEDs at the camera. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
That was what Tad was saying about a loose clip lead. So I'm holding the clip lead in my other hand,
Ah, okay.
and that can happen even if you are actually using real alligator clips.
Yeah, those wires are small, and it's possible the fangs will go around the wire. Glenn, yes, Aussie Ham Radio. This works perfectly for an iGate. I played with it with Direwolf and with Pinpoint APRS, and I gated it just fine. Works great.
All right.
And it has a lot more functionality than something like the AIOC. Than the AIOC board as well. I mean, you can do a whole lot of other stuff with this. It's pretty cool.
All right. So USB off. Let the soldering iron cool down. We made it to the end of another successful Nuggets because we didn't burn the trailer down.
Hollywood, do. I don't remember the sequence. Do. Oh, do.
Yep.
Yeah, close to that. Something like that.
Michael's asking, what radio do I plan to hook this up to? All of them. So I got two because I want to be able to demonstrate talking to myself. One of the things we found out, I guess it was when Jim was running the radio, the person on the other end also needs to, and I found this out too, the person on the other end also needs to be 100% in the exact same mode with the exact same configuration, configured properly, and band conditions need to be good. So I decided I was getting two of these things so that I could talk to myself and remove all doubt of whatever is that is going on in the middle. And then once I get that out, thanks, Hacks. Once I get that out, then I can talk over the wire remotely. And I've been doing kind of that thing. So KM6LYW's DigiPi, and I've been playing with WinLink. So there's going to be a series of WinLink videos coming out on the channel. But I've got a Raspberry Pi set up with DigiPi running on it connected to the IC705. And then I have it set up connected to the best radio on the planet, the red VGC Vero VR N76 radio. And I am sending email from my Android phone connected via Bluetooth to this, connected via wireless to the 705, connected to the internet to do the email gateway stuff. That's pretty cool. And then if you don't have The Bluetooth TNC stuff, I also have it working on the radio. This is the same radio, just in black, with an adapter to a Kenwood cable through a digirig into a different Raspberry Pi. So it's actually really cool to have the two screens up at the same time, the two logs, and watch them talk to each other. And I'll be doing that with this thing here eventually. So I've got the Yaesu FTM 6000, I've got the Yaesu FT 8800, I've got the Yaesu FT 818, I've got a FT100, I've got an 857. All of those will all connect to this thing once we make the right cable, which you know how much fun we have making cables. And then this should, in theory, work with every radio on the planet if you build the right cable for that connector.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. Any last minute business? Thank you, Hollywood.
That's it. DECCG. Band nerd back in the day. I couldn't
Okay.
remember it.
Jody, that would be funny.
Right.
I haven't gotten them to
No,
talk
I
to each
think
other.
that's great. We got we have a successfully working gadget. No smoke escaped.
Thank you, Marvin.
And
Yes, Tad and Nino both will be on Coffee and Ham Radios discussing all of this stuff, and maybe we might have this finished by then.
sweet. On the 18th. Is that Saturday or Thursday?
I don't know.
I haven't
Let's
looked at the
see.
schedule. I need to because
That
I
is a
think Saturday.
Saturday show,
I
and we
think
have
this
one more
Saturday is
Nuggets
my
between
show.
now and then. So we might actually get this done. And if not, then Tad and Nino will have to talk to each other over Nino TNCs.
Right. Which is a good backup plan, Tad. I'm just saying.
And then Tad's wife, Nancy, Tad has volunteered that she come on the show also, so I have to reach out to her. I haven't done that yet, Tad, to get her on the show to talk about Rars Fest. So
All right.
cool stuff. Jody,
Oh,
thank you.
Jody, Frisch. He's all right for a Canadian. Very polite.
Yeah. I'm hitting the button, y'all. We will see you next Monday for more Nuggets.
Good job, Steve.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Perfect.